Welcome to the Very Merry Life podcast, unfiltered, unscripted, and always relatable as fuck. I'm your host, Mary Hendricks, and you might know me from Instagram as That Relatable AF Mama, who hopefully feels like an old friend at this point. And if not, hang tight and join in as things get real, honest, and probably a bit too TMI as I, and the help of some amazing guests, dive into all things mom life, marriage, sex, and more. No experts, just real life moms talking real life things. So get ready to laugh lots, cry occasionally, and leave feeling seen, supported, and inspired. Making friends is hard enough as an adult, let alone as a mom, but all of that changes right here and now. So hang on, lean in, virtually clink whatever glass you have nearby with mine, and let's go. Talk.
Check.
Okay. So let's hear how that sounds. Talk right there. Just like talk.
Check.
We don't have to go in.
Check.
All right. Hi, guys. Oh, today is a fun episode because I have my coffee poured and Haley's down for a nap. Cassidy and Spencer are at school and I have Kev here.
Howdy do.
It's Friday. So we're going to sip our coffee and just chat. A few weeks ago, I had questions put in on my Instagram about things for us to answer. And I'm hoping to have Kev come on more just because it's the Very Merry Life. This is a part of my life. He's a big portion of it. He's the other half of it. So we're going to chat. But hi, Kev.
Hello.
All right. If you don't know my husband, and I mean, you can introduce yourself if you want, but my husband's Kevin. Keven.
Yep, I'm the guy never wearing a shirt.
In my stories. Yeah, he hardly ever has a shirt on. So that's fun. I enjoy it. We've been married for 7 years. We got married in 2015, June 27th. And when was our first date?
September 13th, 2012.
Look at that. Isn't that impressive?
Mm-hmm.
And so what, 10 years? We've been together for over 10 years.
Yeah, been a long time.
Yeah. You're not sick of me yet?
I refuse to answer that question.
He loves me. All right. So yeah, we got the 3 kids. We're going to take advantage of the time we got. Should be. There are other ways we could have been taking advantage of this time. So consider yourself lucky, but I still sound like I have the plague and, Kev doesn't need that. I don't know why the freak you didn't get sick.
Knock on wood.
No, well, it's a bunch of bullshit. Apparently dads don't get sick. Moms do. Every single time. Okay, well, so let's start. So first question is your guys' story and how you manage life with him being in law enforcement. So that's a big thing. If you don't know, Kev is a police detective, and you've been doing that for how long?
Well, I've been in law enforcement for it'll be 16 years in April. So
yeah,
over 15 and a half years.
Yeah, and you can kind of say your background, say what you do.
What I do?
Well, what you do, what your experience level is.
Mainly with computers, cyber crimes, the dark web, drugs on the dark web. I run the site stopdarkwebdrugs.com. I speak at conferences. I teach to law enforcement about the dark web and cryptocurrencies. Yes,
it's very fancy. And me, I just sit over here kind of watching Law & Order SVU, thinking that's what he does. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so how you manage life with him being in law enforcement. So, I mean, nowadays you don't really have like the patrol schedule that you used to.
Knock on wood, I don't.
Knock on wood. But when you did, when was the last time you did?
2014.
Yeah, so we didn't have babies then. So Kev got hurt in the line of duty back in 2014 in August. That was a shit show. He got dragged by a car and nearly like run over. So after that happened, you got moved off of patrol and then you were working with FBI, right?
Internet crimes against children, yes, for 4 years.
Yeah. So he was doing that. So that was like a little bit of a saving grace. However, I mean, what you got moved into wasn't the loveliest of things, but you got to do good work.
Yeah, I did very good work while I was there.
Yeah.
Very rewarding work.
Yeah, because that shit's fucked up, which actually people have questions about that, like how keep your kids safe, which I just talked about this on my stories last night. And I think I'm going to bring on someone who does this on social media, like talks. She's a police detective. Not that I don't want to have you, but she's a mom and she has that experience. But she's a former police detective and she worked crimes against children. So that's her whole entire profile is sex abuse and just terrible, terrible shit with kids. But I know just from your perspective and what crap you saw, like what's your number one tip?
Know what your kids are doing online. That's all I could say.
Okay. So that would be for older kids then. Yeah. And for younger kids, my biggest thing, and this was like a big topic last night. Someone had asked because someone had messaged me privately saying, like how do you have conversations with your children at a younger age about protecting themselves and being able to tell you when something's up and things like that. And I know that that's something that went through my head with Cassidy being like speech delayed. Our oldest is speech delayed, and that's always something that's like worried me because, as terrible as it is, a lot of those fucked up perverts go after kids that they know are not the weak link. I don't want to say that, but they know that the ones that
it's any predatory practice.
They're going to go after the ones that they know are least likely to say anything. And if your kid can't talk, they can't say anything. So I've always worried about that. But someone messaged me privately and said, what do you do? And I mentioned that we just say the anatomical names. Like we just say it. And someone then followed that question up saying like, why? Or how? Like that was another question I got. Like, how do you even start that? You just do. It's a penis. Yeah. You just do. I mean, I'm immature. So when I say penis, I usually just say penis. Or,
Just don't let this podcast evolve into toilet talk.
But you just do, and the importance of it is you gotta just teach your kids, otherwise they can't tell you when something's going on. So that would be that tip. But your tip is watch what your kids are doing online because why? Where are they meeting creeps?
Anywhere you have access to online platforms like TikTok, Instagram. I just said that when I was dropping Cassie off, some girl was like recording a story either on her TikTok or on Instagram waiting to go into the school.
Yeah, this is like an elementary school.
So it's something that you have to be cognizant of, and knowing what your kids do online is very important. It's probably the most important thing is to understand exactly what they're doing. If they're a boy that's a gamer or something like that, understand what they're actually doing behind the closed door of their room. That's very important. And it transcends even to, the drugs online. You'd be surprised how many parents, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids that are ordering drugs via the dark web in the mail that are coming to their house on a weekly basis. Yeah. So the multitude of things when you talk about protecting your children, that's something that's very important because obviously there's a myriad of things your kids can be doing online.
Well, online, think about this. Like on Instagram, I have 81.2 thousand of you guys. I let you into my life every single day. Like I have to control, but I have strangers in my house when I open up my phone. So that's kind of what you have to think about, which terrifies me. I'm glad we don't have teenagers right now because, it also fucking terrifies me because the internet's only going to get worse.
Well, so we live in a hyper-sexualized society. We do. We live in a day and age where it's normal for kids to be taking provocative, and I say kids, but teenagers, provocative photos of themselves and sending it or putting it out to the world. Yeah. That in and of itself is a breeding ground for people that would want to take advantage of that. And that's a very, very big problem. And it is important to understand that, my mom, she had a flip phone up until earlier this year. She's probably the most neophyte, doesn't understand the World Wide Web person that you would ever meet in your life. My father didn't even know how to check his emails. I had to check his emails for him when he finally got
and then now you have Cassidy who knows how to open up my phone. That's how crazy that shit is. So that's why it freaks me out. Like, think about what it's like when they get older.
Well, but again, the evolution of society, being very fluent with technology is important. That's especially now, people graduating college. Most of the jobs out there are jobs in the either financial tech, fintech field, or people that know how to do stuff involving coding and scripting and things of that nature, because that's the evolution of our society. So I see the downside of keeping your children away from technology at a young age, because when they hit middle school, when they hit high school, I even know kindergartens that are giving out tablets.
Yeah.
They're giving out tablets and MacBooks and things of that nature. So it's important to understand that you can't have this complete Robinson Crusoe on an island somewhere primitiveness to stay away from technology. Because, yes, obviously there are bad components to living your life online. But in the same respect, you can't be behind the curve when all of a sudden you're learning practical skills at your formative years, whether that's elementary school, middle school, high school. You have to be very versed in this stuff, because I can promise you that when they get to the age where they're going to start looking for jobs, I mean, granted, jobs will always be there in the food service industry, I assume. Who knows, everything's going to be automated by the time our kids hit that age. But when they're looking for careers and things of that nature, you got to be fluent in computers. You got to understand computers, and a component of understanding computers and technology is having that tablet when you're little, having that phone when you're of that age, and that's very important. And
that's why I always say with screen time, because I know that's a big thing with parents. Like, they get really freaked out because, I mean, they say, I'm sure there's studies. I don't know them because I'm not pulling them up because I don't give a fuck. But I know with screen time, you have to do it in a correct sense, because these things aren't going anywhere.
No.
They're only going to get worse. So I want to teach my kids. I want them to be familiarized with them. I'm going to control how much they have, because especially you notice a difference when Spencer and Cassie become little assholes.
There's an appropriate time for it, and at a dinner table is an inappropriate time. So at a dinner table when you're out in a restaurant, we've always had that.
We don't do that, so I'm not going to judge, because I get it, but we don't personally do that.
No, we don't do because it's our prerogative
to teach our kids how to act in a restaurant. So, but we take our kids knowing it's going to be a shit show. That's the difference. Is like Kev and I don't go out to a restaurant with our kids expecting a date night between us two, where we need them to shut up and leave us alone. If we go out, which is why it's very rare. I think the last time we went out to a restaurant was after like months ago. I remember how we left. We left early because we didn't bring the tablets. We didn't do anything, but our kids were awful. And we just said, fuck it, let's go home.
But Haley was very young, and Haley was...
I know, but that's the difference.
It wasn't like we left solely because of...
No, but that's but it was a... Yeah, but we didn't bring tablets. We could have easily nipped that where we controlled the other two and he'll deal with...
Yeah.
But we didn't.
Yeah, no.
Because we knew it wasn't like a date night for us where we needed them. But we take our tablets on airplanes or car rides or...
Well, it's no, like that's my thing too. Is when
we do it at night here at home. We put the TV on so they can leave us alone while we eat dinner.
You have these ultra... I say holistic in the sense where, people think of medicine and things of that nature, but I feel like there's this kind of movement away from any type of technology, and then like these are the same parents that will fly on a plane and watch the movie on the plane on the back of the seat of the TV, but say their kids can't have a tablet. It's like, there's kind of this hypocrisy of it, but in the same respect, as much as Spencer loves his tablet, he loves books being read to him, and the same thing with Cassie, reading books to her. So there's always going to be that interaction between parents and the children.
Well, it's a balance.
Yeah, if you allow it to be that way.
And
they don't have tablets in their bedroom. They're not allowed to bring the tablets to their bedroom. We say when tablet time goes off, when movie goes on. We say when it's wind down time. So, I mean, from a standpoint of if people are just solely interested in how we balance it, I would say that we do make an effort to curtail how much time they do spend on the tablet when we feel they've done enough.
Yeah. Agreed. All right, let's go through my phone. Let's see what other stuff. We're not going to cover everything. We're going to do this. We're going to call this Coffee Chats.
Oh, Coffee Chat? Coffee chat?
Coffee. How to get out of the roommate phase. and back to normal after your first baby?
It takes time. It really does. I mean, it's.
I mean, I don't think the roommate phase is automatically a bad thing. I talked about this on Instagram because it is hard, especially when you don't expect it. I think you and I kind of expected that it was going to happen, not in a bad way, where it's like you priority shift. Like, priority shift, we're always our main focus of being in contact and communication, but the roommate phase is
your main prerogative in marriage should not be sex. Like, I'll say that flat out. It's important, 100%. It's an important component, but it should not be like some sort of almost animalistic, like, having sex all the time type aspect.
Well, it should be a reconnection type of thing. That's the way we view it. But even when I joke, like I made that stupid reel where it's like when you're touched out and, no. We have a house phone, by the way. We should just let it go.
Component.
Yeah, that's what we'll talk about after this. We'll talk about a house phone after this one.
So I do a spam call.
Yeah. But the sex should just be a reconnect. That's how I view it, because I made that stupid reel saying like when you're touched out and it's is that a snake one? And you commented on it saying this has never happened ever. Well, because everyone, it doesn't even look like you. I put on a fake mustache filter and that's my faux husband. But someone commented, and especially the people comments on TikTok were like, if you don't do it, he'll find someone else that can. Right. And I'm like, that's fucked up. Like, that's really how men think, that because your wife isn't putting out that you're going to go and cheat because they, like, how, fuck you. Fuck that everything for anyone who thinks that. Because that is such a load of shit.
Well, and then you see stuff with, like, Adam Levine now. And
shame on that. Like, you hear that and you're like, what is wrong with men?
I can't attest.
And not that it's just all men. Sure, women do it too, but
I can't attest to other marriages. I can't attest to other men. All I can say is that sex is important in our marriage, but it's not something where we're keeping score. It's not something where we're
looking and being like, well, someone yesterday asked, like, how often are you doing it weekly? And I was like, weekly? I'm like,
no, there are
sometimes it happens.
There are times when we went away 2 years ago now.
Boned everywhere.
We had sex every day. We did. No, I'll say it's true, right? Yeah, we did. We did like multiple times a day, every day.
We'll be back after a quick break. Eye-Opening Moments podcasts are real-life stories of adversity, encounters, and perspectives. They are moments that can lift your spirits, give you some food for thought, or move you. For the introspective mind that likes to reflect, discover, and find solutions or meaning in a complex life, listen to Eye-Opening Moments podcasts.
But we don't do that here. We could be doing that now, but again, I'm like a mucus factory, so no.
It's not. But it's not something where we feel that it's something where it becomes a chore or something that like a benchmark we have to hit at some point during.
We don't keep tally. We don't like it. It's not like a reward system. It's not anything like that. I think it's honestly like for me, I notice when we haven't done it, and not in a bad way. Like I notice you and I are kind of like two people just existing in one premise.
But there's other intimacy factors to our.
Oh, completely. But I definitely think sex is like the one thing. Like I can tell when it's like. I can tell when it's been a while, like especially after like the baby is born. When you have a first baby, like you're not having sex. Technically they say until. Did you fart?
I didn't fart. That was you.
I did not fart, Lucy. Jeez Louise. Oh my God. She's laying right underneath the table where we're recording. Oh my God. Yeah, that's really Jesus Christ. But after you have a baby, they recommend that you don't have sex. Your 6-week checkup is like that big one. But even then, like, I mean, depending on your delivery style, but you're still healing. You're still tired as all hell. some people get it on way earlier. I've heard stories of people getting it on like really quickly after, which sounds nuts to me, but it just doesn't, it's not even on our radar, but I notice what that's like because it does get very easy when the sex completely falls to the wayside, which happens. That's okay. But when it does, it's really important that the other things exist.
Yeah, and that, like, when somebody says, "Oh, he'll find someone who will do it," like, that's such a simplistic.
Go find your hand.
But that's such a simplistic. I think an oversimplification of something in the nature where there's something wrong with your marriage to begin with. If you and I haven't had sex, and I'm just using this as a complete instance that doesn't exist, but if you or I haven't had sex for a month, and then all of a sudden I'm going to start to want to go have sex with someone else, there's got to be something wrong with
Well, I was listening to a podcast yesterday, Kat and Nat. I love them. If you're listening, go check them out because they're fucking hilarious. But she was talking about marriage and falling in love multiple times. They were talking about it. And she said, you know, my rule of thumb is if I can purchase it, that if you're only good for what I can purchase, essentially, if you're only providing me something that I can pay for, then I don't want anything to do with you. But if you think about it like that, like she was like, if you're only with someone because of sex, you could pay for sex. Like you could pay for whatever. You could pay for that. Or if you're with someone because they're buying you nice things, or if you're with someone because they're a handyman, or like all of these things. She's like, I want someone that provides me something that I can't get anywhere else. That's the fun. That's the intimacy. That's that extra factor it's a reason why you're friends with someone. Like, think about it. It's a reason why you hang out with someone is because they're providing you something that you can't find elsewhere. If that were the case, we'd all not have any friends. And, you know, there's a reason why I have a dog and I also have friends.
Yeah. And that's another thing, too. I feel like social life, too, is a factor as well. I mean, I don't really have the opportunity to hang out with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And likewise with you, you know, you were able to go away with your friends for a period of time in August. Then I was traveling in that time in my speaking ventures and teaching ventures. And, you know, the reality is my whole social life has really gone down the crapper.
Yeah.
And I think that's something important that people need to understand, too. And when you talk about the longing or the 7-year itch or things of that nature, it's no different than, especially the way we construe things with men, like a midlife crisis for men, right? That's when like men hit a certain age and then they go off and they buy a Ferrari or they go, like, I just feel like there's this kind of box that we put men into in this society we live in, and then we expect. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like we expect that to happen. If, you know, the fact that, well, you and I haven't been, again, this is not a real circumstance, but you or I haven't been intimate in 6 months. So it's like, well, I got to go out. I got to go party. I got to go find some woman who wants to have a fling with me. That's so
fucked up.
Yeah. And look, if there are guys that are like that, that's on them. Whatever.
But I think that's important to talk about too. Like, but then that was another thing that someone said, like a taboo subject. I asked on my stories the other day, and someone said, "What's it like to have a taboo subject?" Is my husband doesn't have a really high sex drive, and I have a higher sex drive, and that she said that was something I didn't expect to happen, but it's huge. Like,
yeah, that's not a taboo.
It's not taboo. I think men are for some reason men are like expected to be these like hypersexual things, and women aren't.
Well, because we live in a hypersexual.
Yeah,
society.
it's just like, but that plays into your marriage where if like you're not wanting to have sex all the time, like who fucking cares? Have sex when you want to have sex, and then just connect in other ways. There's other things other than just laying in bed naked together. Jesus.
Yeah, the reality is, you know, if you look at the breakdown of a day, 24 hours in a day, 8 of those hours you're sleeping.
Yeah.
The reality, I mean, if you have a good life, 8 of those hours you're sleeping. But the reality is what? So sex, at minimum, and I'm saying this very round figures here. Let's just say 1 hour of intimacy. Let's just use that.
That's pushing.
No, I'm not saying like you're having sex for 1 hour. I'm just saying like the buildup of the intimacy, 1 hour. It's like you're putting 1 hour of focus on something that in the grand scheme of things is so small. It's such a small percentage. And when you talk about marriage is a commitment. Marriage is a lifetime together.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're putting this focus on that, it's like, dude, what you're missing a lot.
You're missing a whole bunch,
bunch. And that's something too, where I feel there's also this push when you get married to have kids and things of that nature, when it's like, I know people who are very happy that are married and don't have children.
Yeah.
And I know people who are miserable that are married and have children.
Yeah. I mean, you have to have that foundation right there. I think that's why it's like the focus always has to be there. But that's why, like, going back to the core question that was like, after you have your first baby and the roommate phase and things like that, you got to be open. You got to be open. You got to talk. You got to talk. Because, I mean, especially from a woman perspective, well, and you could talk from a man's perspective, but from a woman perspective, like, if you're listening and you're a woman and you just had a baby, it's huge. It's huge. It's not a little thing that you just did. You just birthed an entire human and you created new life.
Yeah.
And now you're never going to be the same. I'm just going to say that. You're never going to be the same. Your marriage will never be the same. However, it can be better. Yeah. It can only get better if you are willing to be open about the changes that happen. We can't be in denial about saying everything it's that whole bounce back shit, whether it's about your body or life. Like, everyone's expecting to go back to something again.
These actors and actresses that are able to look like they
but I'm saying bounce back in general is this huge thing where people expect after have a kid to be able to return to the life that they had before a kid. Yeah. It won't ever happen.
No, the you have to understand the new normal. Like,
it's a complete shift. Your life just got turned over. Yeah. Like your world is new. Your world is brand new. You just got reborn. So that's something that has to happen. But for a woman, I think we feel it tremendously. For a man, I think you also feel it. But I think the man's perspective of when you bring a baby home isn't often talked about.
No. Well, I mean, I think in terms of with a baby being home, there's always been this structured viewpoint in our society that, it's a stay-at-home mom, not a stay-at-home dad, some things of that nature. And yes, there is things with your child that, and I'm being very, I'm trying not to be politically incorrect, but the connection between the mom and the baby.
No, some babies just want their moms.
Yeah, and like
that's our Haley.
I've seen that. Yeah, Haley versus Spencer and Cassidy, different children, different likes and joys. And with Haley, she enjoys
my boobs.
Yeah, being with Mary more than she does with me. And that is a factor too. And does that make me sometimes feel, upset? Yeah, it does. Like, because I want to be able to let Mary sleep and go put the baby down when she wakes up in the middle of the night and vice versa. But the issue is Haley does not want that.
I don't think any of our kids ever let you do that though.
No, yeah.
Not until like after they got to be one. Infant stage is weird. They want mom. I mean, especially if you're breastfeeding, they want the boobs. Like that's all you're good. That's all you're good for.
And I try to toe that line because some mothers and parents are in situations where the kid at Haley's, she's 6 months, 7 months now, like they be in daycare.
Yeah.
8, 9 hours, 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
Or they have to be with a nanny. So I toe that line because, we are very fortunate where we're able to have the lifestyle that we want for each other.
Yeah.
And that makes us very fortunate. And I say it towing the line because I understand that there are people who can't have that.
Yeah.
And it is a shame that if it is something you want and you don't have that, you don't have the co-parenting there for some people, single parents. You don't have the ability to be able to put your kid down for a nap when you're at home and then do your work from home. Some people don't have those opportunities. But in the same respect, for me being a father and Haley being very anti-me right now, there's it.
But did you feel like a shift? Like when we came home, think about Cassidy. I mean, it was a long time ago, but when we came home from the hospital with Cassidy, did you feel such a tremendous shift of like, I'm a dad now?
I mean, I didn't necessarily, I didn't know what to expect. You don't really know about parenthood till you have.
But did you feel like a new sense of worry? Did you feel like a new sense of stress?
Of course.
And
So, there's this baby that you got to keep alive now, and especially since Haley was a NICU baby for her first.
No, Cassidy.
I'm sorry, Cassidy. I apologize.
Yeah.
Cassidy was a NICU baby for her first. 2 days, 3 days of her life. It's something that you're, especially with that. You're very on edge, and you want to be home as much as possible. But I really I don't have paternity leave with my job.
Yeah.
So that's something where Mary's brother and his wife, he was able to have paternity leave.
Oh, didn't he get like 12 weeks or something crazy?
I didn't get that.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of I felt a new prioritization of things in my life versus caring about other things, if that makes sense. Like, you have this child that you have to now be a provider for.
Yeah.
That's important.
And now, well, here's another question that came in. His tips for dads struggling with parenting. Because I don't think some dads, moms struggle with parenting. Like, that's a big thing. Like, I struggle with parenting. Although I will say this in terms of being politically correct or whatever, women just have an instinct. Most women have an instinct. And it's not, and I want to say that lightly because there are some women who don't, which is fine. Not everyone's, I have to learn. Not everything I do is right.
Yeah.
Per se. I think my gift is I have common sense and fuck it attitude, where I'm like, fuck it, it's my life. Everyone stay out, and I'm just gonna do things my way. Where I don't get super hyper focused on the rights and the wrongs.
Yeah.
Which helps. But it's not always easy. And I know for dads, sometimes that's a huge
I think
shift to hear like a crying baby or coming home to what do you do? Like, how do you feel when you come home and the kids are like absolutely bouncing off the fucking walls?
Well, I think there's different factors leading up to how I feel when I come home. And, if it's been a bad day to begin with, and then I come home and it's
Okay, so let's go from there. Dad coming home from a bad day, what would be your tip for that?
I would say that you have to understand that your kids see a certain percentage of you each day if you're a working father and you're not home from the time they get up. And for me, I get home 2 hours before they go to bed, or an hour and a half before they go to bed, depending. So it's something where you've had to check me on it, but I tried.
Yeah, I've had to remind Kev. I've had to remind him. I've had conversations with him where I'm like, listen, you got to come home and leave that stuff at the door. Not that I don't care. Not that we don't care. Because I know work can suck ass, but you gotta leave it because they come in. Cassidy even said the other day. She said, "Daddy's grumpy."
Well, yeah. I try not to be, but it's just,
no, but it happens, and it's not like a slight. It's just, but that goes to show kids are noticing things, and I think
it doesn't mean to say that I'm struggling with parenthood as it is. I know some parents or fathers do have some freakouts, and you do have the unfortunate situation where the father leaves because of that. And, thankfully, we don't know anybody personally. Well, we do have friends where that happened later in life, where the father left. And
yeah.
But in terms of, kids not knowing their fathers, it's a shame. And I feel that there's just so many factors that come into play, for that to happen.
I would say therapy. Go to therapy. Everyone needs therapy.
Yeah. Therapy, I think having
but it's got to come. But it's got to come. Men in general don't vent their emotions as well as women do. So that they just get left in the dust. But especially with parenthood, there's a whole social media. There's mommy bloggers. There's a reason why my page is successful is because I'm talking about shit that women want to talk about. I don't care, but men don't do that. There's very rare dad accounts.
Yeah.
There aren't many.
Yeah, and if there are dad accounts, it's kind of like niche dad accounts, right? Like Bat Dad or whatever the guy.
Yeah, but I think it might be growing, but it's not common. It's not common for dads to be encouraging dads. And even someone I think once mentioned to me is we're always online and encouraging you're a good mom, but we rarely ever do it to dads.
Yeah, I think that's a
and it's a bigger discussion. But I think we rarely ever applaud dads. But we do. But that's the problems that we're running into is like we do applaud dads, but dads are sometimes getting applauded for the bare minimum.
Oh yeah, I changed the baby's diaper.
Yeah, so that shit needs to end. But we need to be doing it in encouraging ways, like
I think, like you said, that might be a factor in and of itself, stressfulness for fathers because there isn't that support channel out there. I mean, there is there's things like the Daily Dad or whatever social media platform followings that there are for these pages, but most of that stuff is like dedicated to jokes.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you see there isn't a changing table in the men's room versus the women's room. You know what I mean? So I think there is this hyper
we need to stop making dads feel like it's such a, I don't know.
Well, you view it as this way. If the father works if the father works a job, the father isn't home. If the father doesn't work a job and is a stay-at-home dad, they're viewed as a less than.
Not always.
But in our society that we live in, there is that.
Well, usually it looks like you're lazy.
The undertone that is there. So that is something we have to recognize too. So there has to be an achievable equilibrium for that to advance.
Dads need to stop being treated like they are such a... I'm trying to think of the right word. It's like you go to the grocery store. If you're with your kids, if you're with all three kids, I guarantee people are going to look at you and be like, "He's a great dad."
Oh yeah, doing the
But if the kids are freaking out and people see you handling it, people are going to be like, "He's a great dad." And yet, if I'm with the kids and they're freaking out, people are going to be like, "Oh, she has her hands full."
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of the right word. Dads are looked. It's like you're magical.
Yeah, I mean, I would...
you're out in public, when people see you, it's like you're a celebrity. People are like, oh, look at him. Look at him go.
It's like
a rarity.
It's like me running...
Is that what I'm looking for? It's rare. It's people treat it like it's such a rare find to see a dad that everything dads do is applauded.
Yeah, you have that... I don't
know if that makes sense.
...viewpoint, but then you also, you have the viewpoint of where's the mom?
Right?
Yeah. And then that's also...
It's all fucked up. Everyone's fucked up. We just need to shut the hell up. That's basically the end of it.
It could
just shut the fuck up judging anyone or just talking about anything. Just know everyone's got their shit together. Just care about the kids, whether or not they're fed, clean, clothed. That's all that matters.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about 2 more things, and then we can get off, and you can go for your run, and I can go get clean because I smell like hot dumpster fire. We already talked about that. How did we meet? You guys want to know how about we met?
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Match.com.
Yeah, Match.com. Although I lied to my family for a little bit about how I met Kev.
Yeah, we met on a train.
We met on a train. That's how I told my parents. And you want to know why that story came? Is because I texted my mom saying that I had a date while I was getting on a train for an interview in New York City.
Oh.
And it just she was like, "Where'd you meet him?" And I was like, "I'm on the train." And she was like, "Oh, you met him on the train?" I'm like, "Yeah." But that's because it was so weird back then. It wasn't normal.
I would say we were kind of on right at the phase of
it being more normal. Tinder started.
Yeah, we were right at that phase where Tinder came out. We did not meet on Tinder. By the way, we met on Match.com. But we were at that phase where online dating in and of itself was changing.
Yeah.
And I think we have friends that have met on Tinder and have gotten married and have great marriages. So for us, I think we were on the weird turnaround of online dating because I don't know anybody who has a Match.com account anymore. Everyone kind of is...
Does it even exist anymore?
Yeah,
no, it does.
Everyone has kind of migrated from this online dating, eHarmony and all these things.
I think Bumble or some shit. I don't even know. I don't know. But that's how we met. We met then. We went on a date at a restaurant in my hometown. And I remember you being nervous. You wore pink shirt.
Did I wear a pink shirt?
Pink pants? Pink shirt. I wouldn't have gone on a second date with you if you wore pink pants. I think pink shirt and khaki shorts.
Yeah.
Or khakis, I think. Do you remember what I was wearing?
I'm trying to remember. You had on a white shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
Isn't that so cute? We went on this date. I wasn't like, I mean, we were both nervous, so it wasn't like a love at first sight, but I remember going on this date, and the weirdest thing, and I'll always say this story, and this is like not me bullshitting or anything. I remember you talking, and I don't know what the conversation was about. It was like, I don't know. It was something, I don't even know. But all I remember thinking and sitting in while we were having this conversation was, he's going to be in my life. Like in some way. Like I knew that you weren't going anywhere, if that makes sense. But it wasn't like I'm going to marry you. It was like he's intertwined in my life in some way.
Very good.
So.
And look where we are now.
Yeah. Got 3 children. 3 kids. 3 crazy ass kids keeping us on our toes. But yeah, that's what we did. And we dated for like a year and a half before we got married or engaged.
Yeah, we were.
And we didn't talk about getting engaged, by the way. He kind of blindsided me with that one. Not in a bad way. I just didn't expect it.
Yeah, I forget how long we were dating.
It was like a year and a half.
Yeah, it was about a year and a half. Yeah.
Because we got engaged in 2014. And then you got hurt right afterwards.
Yes.
It was May 2014, then you got hurt in August 2014.
Yes, I did. So yeah, we were dating for about a year and a half.
And then we got married the year after that.
Yes.
And our wedding was by far the most fun event ever. I know I'm biased to say that, but if you talk to anyone that was at my wedding, they will all agree.
At our wedding.
Our wedding.
Yeah.
What? What? What did I say?
You said my wedding.
I didn't say my wedding.
Yes, you did. Play it back. You said my wedding.
Oh, my wedding.
Yeah, exactly.
It was all about me. Although I didn't really eat anything, which kind of pisses me off.
Yeah, there was a lot of food.
There was a lot of food, and I was a little drunk. So it happens. And we went on our honeymoon in Sanibel.
Yeah, which is since
gone now because of stupid Hurricane Ian.
Yeah.
And then we did 4 days there. We drove up to Tampa for one day to go to a baseball game.
Yep.
And then we drove to Orlando. Orlando for 2 days. And we went to Universal. We saw Harry Potter Land.
Yeah, when it just had opened.
I got selected to be a wizard thing. Yeah. The wand part. That was so much fun.
It was.
And I thought, Kev, did you do that?
No, I didn't. I swear to Christ.
Okay, so if you go to Harry Potter World, like, if you've ever seen the movies when he like gets his wand and like
Ollivanders.
Yeah, and whatever, they pick one, or no, do they only pick one person?
They
only pick one person to go and like try out a wand, and then they do all the effects for like the lights and the wind and everything, and you get to try out the wand. But I'm with a bunch of kids. We're in a whole group of kids, and they choose me.
Yeah, they took you. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that makes no sense. But we did it. And then we went to Daytona and we finished out the honeymoon. Yeah. It was fun. So easy peasy. But all right, well, that's it. Let's wrap it up.
All right, wrap it up.
And we'll do this more. We'll do coffee chats more.
Oh, can't wait.
We're going to do it every other week. Coffee chat. I'm starting it now. Get ready.
Dear God.
Little series. Coffee chats with Kev and Mar.
Yes, don't tune in.
Do tune in.
All right,
love you too. Adios. Another episode down and way more to go. But thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you would like to help support this podcast, I would love for you to subscribe. I'd love for you to share it with others and post about it on your own social media, or leave a rating and review. I cannot tell you how helpful and how appreciated those things are for me. Of course, to catch all the latest from me, you can follow me over on Instagram at The Very Merry Life, over on TikTok, The Very Merry Life. And even if you wanted to check out my monthly newsletter, you can do so by subscribing over at theverymerrylife.com. I'll see you next week. Stay tuned for more honest, raw, real chit chat. I have some amazing moms lined up coming on, and shit's going to get fun. So buckle up, Buttercup. It's going to be good.